Here we are. So we're going to get right into it. So this is class, I believe it's class number 10. I hope I have that right, for JP University. And just to let you all know that all of these classes, 1 through whatever, however many we get through, they're all posted on boards. So if you're on the HEAT team boards, you simply go to JP University and you'll find all of our classes right there. And I think, just so that you all know, they're going to be a little bit different folder because classes 1 through 9 are not the first skills, excuse me, that you normally would learn. So I'm going to put it in folders so that when you're looking for like a brand new person to begin, that you know where some of those initial skills are. So just know that it's going to be a little bit reorganized. So I think it'll make it a little bit easier for everybody. So what we talked about last week was inviting, how to invite. And anybody want to, if you remember, what do you think the number one piece that you have to remember as you're inviting? Like, what's the trick to inviting? Anybody have any answers for that? What are you looking for? Yeah, Noreen.
Connect with them.
Yes, absolutely. And what else?
Listen.
Nancy?
Oh, to be joyful, to be, not anticipate what they're going to say. Don't be attached to the outcome.
Great, great. Yeah, Noreen, you wanted to add to that.
And ask them if this is a good time. You know, you don't want to just go into talking, and it's not a good time.
Yeah. And then once you get into the conversation, do you just invite anybody to the party? Like, how do you decide what do you think about that, Noreen?
Yeah, if somebody doesn't drink or doesn't do some type of activity and they would be offended by it, they would not be a good one to invite to a wine and shine.
Yeah, exactly. A wine and wellness. If you know somebody doesn't drink, that might not be the best one. And you might say it's a wine and wellness, but we're also going to have some mocktails. We're going to have some soda water. Would you still like to come? So you're really going to decide in the conversation, you know, is this going to be a match for them? Is this going to be a good party for them? Like I said, if it's burgers and beers and football games, and you know somebody hates burgers and hates beers and doesn't like football, that's not the party to invite them to. So be thinking about who you're inviting and what you're inviting to. That's really important. You're just not going to invite everybody to everything because sometimes it might not make sense. And again, you're not just inviting to an event at your house. Sometimes it may be a Zoom call. And so you can pick and choose that when you're having the conversation with somebody, thinking, I don't know what the best thing is to invite them. I know right now, for example, there might be 3 Zoom calls in the next week and a half that I'm aware of. So this call tonight is an extension of last week's in that if you've set up the calls that you know that are happening, the events that you know that are happening, the webinars that you might be able to invite to, and you have 3 in front of you, you might be looking at one and saying, oh, this is a good one for Mary, but I'm going to have that conversation with Mary to see if she's still interested in learning more about health. Is she still interested in leveling up her health? Or she found something that's working for her? And at that point, you can say, I wanted to invite you to a party, but I just want to make sure this is a match for you. Are you still working on, or is this still important to you? So you're going to really align what their desires are with the things that you have coming up. So that's just a quick overview of what we talked about. And of course, when you make that phone call, this is a good time to talk. And Nancy, I love you. You come with the energy that you want to represent, that you are excited about something that's coming. And that, really, if we start every conversation with the idea that we have some kind of gift to bring to somebody, some kind of value, even if it's not Juice Plus, the conversation will really go so much better. So weaving through that, but also understanding the invitation. So who has somebody in mind that they'd like to invite to something that's like maybe one of the Healthy Living affiliate calls that's just really all about fruits and vegetables? It's not yet about the business. I don't know how many of you have been watching the Healthy Living affiliates calls. They're amazing. Check on boards for how to watch them. They now apparently have 24 hours of encores that you can watch and invite anybody to almost any time. So check that out and have that in front of you before you make a call so you're ready to go and you can help them through it. But does anybody here have somebody that they'd like to invite that they haven't yet invited because they're just not sure how to make the invitation. Anybody have anybody they can think of? Yeah, Noreen.
I have a girlfriend that's been a lifelong friend.
And don't say her
And-
name. Don't tell us her name because she might be watching this class.
Oh, great.
A
No,
year from now, who
and
knows?
she's working in the healthcare and
Uh-huh.
she would be perfect for this. And I have said to her, I don't know if this would be something that would interest you. And I've kind of felt uncomfortable, asking you about it. And she said, no, what is it? So I've been kind of showing her stuff about the Juice Plus, taking her over these door dashes of food and information. And she returned it and said, no, I'm just not interested. And I just know she doesn't know yet.
Okay, so we've got somebody that has kind of said no in the past. She's looked at a few things, right? She's looked at a few things, but she doesn't think it's for her. So
Right.
what might your next step be? We're going to hold off on the invitation a second. But what happens? What do you do with that person who says, I don't think this is for me, and she's already seen a few things? Any ideas what the next step could be?
No, I don't know.
Nancy?
I think you would just continue to reach out to her and just be her friend and make sure that things are okay. If everything is still going well and this isn't, right for her right now, doesn't mean that you're not interested in her. So you
Right.
would just continue and maybe just share what it's done for you, things that it has done to change you. I don't know if we're talking about just using the product or becoming a partner at this point, but for me, just personally, when I can share what happened with me, people seem to be more interested, or people who I know specifically that had a difference. But to just keep a conversation going, not just stopping because there was a no at one point.
And thank you, Nancy, that was great. And I have a quick question, Noreen. Have you shared your experience personally with her?
That's where I went wrong. I haven't shared or connected with how it has affected me.
So when we
That was
say zip it, we really mean zip it. The only thing for the most part that you should be sharing at the beginning is your experience. You're not telling, hold on, I'm gonna sneeze.
Bless you.
God bless you.
Bless you.
Bless you.
You're not telling about Juice Plus. The most important thing you could do is share your experience. If your experience touches them, then you can say, would you like to know more? I have an event that I went to that really made a difference to me, that made me think that this might be good for me. And I'm so glad I did, because I no longer get headaches. My hair is growing more. I have more energy. When I introduced it to my best friend, she's told me that she doesn't have stomach bloating anymore. Some people just say they just feel better all over. I don't know what it's going to do for you, but have you ever thought about up leveling your health? Have I said one thing about what Juice Plus is? I have not said one thing about what Juice Plus is. I just talked for 30 seconds and never said what it was. I only shared experiences. Carrie?
The other thing I think I would explore a little bit more, if she says it's just not for her, I would just come out of curiosity and just say, I'm just so curious. Could you tell me a little bit more about what you mean about it's not for you? Like, what does that mean to you? Like, just to find out, like, is it not for her because of the cost? Is it not for her because she thinks she eats too much? Or does, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, so
I
Carrie,
want to know a little bit more.
that's where I went to. My first question when she says it's not for me, I'd say, wow, tell me more about that. I'm curious, why isn't it for you? That would be my first thing, no matter what anybody says. What do? Ask a question. I don't tell anymore, I ask a question. So tell me more about that. Michelle.
I have a question on that, because so after you ask, tell me more, and then they talk, when is it appropriate to, that's where I feel sometimes I get caught up on, I don't want to make them feel bad or
Absolutely.
contradict them.
So let's
Yeah.
role play. So let's role play a second here. So I'm going to be, you're going to be the person that says, it's not for me. So think of a reason
Okay.
why it's not for you. And then I'm going to say, oh my gosh, Michelle, so I sent you the information and I know that you watched that first video that I sent you and we know you did. So you might say, yeah, I did or something. So it's not for, so tell me what a little bit more it means for it not to be you. And we're not really doing the invitation right now, I can see, but this is okay. So it's not
Right.
for you. What does that mean?
Okay, and I'm gonna go back. I'm pretending like I did at the beginning because I did say it wasn't for me.
But
So,
you watched information, right?
right, I
Okay,
watched information.
It's not for you. Okay.
Well, actually, when I watched information, then I said yes, but anyway, I'll pretend. So, yeah, I watched it, but I don't really think it's for me.
So tell me more about that. Why do you think it's not for you? I'm just really curious.
Well, I'm more of a person, I'd rather just eat my fruits and vegetables than take it through a pill. So I think I'd rather just make sure I eat more fruits and vegetables.
First of all, I just want to tell you that I felt the same way. In fact, when I first heard about this product, and not all of you have this story, but I do. So I can say it, right? Because you guys know, I thought it was the stupidest thing I'd ever heard of. Why would you put fruits and vegetables in a capsule? Oh my gosh. So I totally get where you're coming from. I mean, it totally makes sense. And so the one thing that I noticed though, when they started telling me I needed to eat 9 to 13 servings, and so you were aware of that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't aware of that, but yes, they had mentioned that in the video.
But you weren't aware of it before that. And so when I heard
No.
that on the video, I went, oh my gosh, is that really true? Do I really need to be eating all that? Because I'm not eating all that right now. And I don't know, maybe this is a way to bridge the gap. I don't know. So how do you feel about that?
I don't know. Well, couldn't you just eat more servings?
You could, I suppose, Michelle, but I'm just wondering, could you personally eat 10 servings of variety every day? Like every day? And by the way, before I might ask that question, I might ask Michelle, do you believe that if you were to eat more fruits and vegetables, you might be healthier? That might be the first question I'd ask.
Sure,
Okay.
absolutely.
So do you think you could actually, because like I couldn't do it. I mean, I tried. But do you think you could eat like 9 servings a day of different variety of fruits and vegetables every day, every day?
Yeah, every single day, probably not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same as you. I really couldn't. And so I thought, okay, let me learn more. Is there science that shows that I'm going to get up fruits and vegetables? Like what? So, okay, I need more. I'm not going to get it through my fruits and vegetables. How do I know this Juice Plus really works? So those were the questions that I ask. So does that something that you'd want to know, like, does this really make it, like, if I'm not doing enough, will it really bridge the gap for me? Is that something you'd like to maybe know more about?
Yes, that I would definitely like to know more about.
So we brought it back around. I found out what wasn't working for her. And then I kind of talked about it. And I said, if you could find out that information, would you want to come back and take a look? Okay.
Yeah.
So then she says, yeah, I take a look. And now I can say, you know what? I'm so glad I called you tonight because a friend of mine just put together the best webinar I've ever seen with the science. And in fact, it's presented by Dr. Mitra Way, who taught at Stanford Medical School. And she's doing part of the presentation, and it's graphically, it's really cool. But it's tomorrow. They are doing it a couple different times tomorrow. If I sent you some links, do you think you might want to just take a second look?
Sure, I could do that.
Okay. So I'm going to come back around to, you know, what it was that wasn't for me. And then I'm going to match it up when she says, if she had said, well, it's not for me because I don't know, what's another one besides I eat enough fruits and vegetables. I
don't have any issues.
Yeah, I'm healthy. That's a great one. I'm already super healthy. Why would I need this? And I'd say, oh my gosh, that's so, I get where you're coming from. I mean, you know, if you feel really healthy, why the heck would you want to change anything? But have you ever had a friend who gave you a call who appeared to be very healthy and she calls you and she says, I was just diagnosed with breast cancer? Has that ever happened to you? Or a friend that looked like they were pretty healthy and they had a heart attack? Because that's happened to me with my sister. She was diagnosed with breast cancer. And this is a woman that walks every day, that eats tons of fruits and vegetables, that, you know, does her exercises, takes care of herself. And yet she had cancer. And so was she healthy the day before she was diagnosed? That would be my question. Are you healthy the day before you find out you were sick? You think you're healthy, right?
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
aren't necessarily. So for me, it was more about prevention. It was more about seeing the future. And I don't know, how do you feel about prevention? I know you're doing a good job right now because you're healthy, but have you thought about maintaining that over the years? And how would you maintain your health over the years? And
Is
so,
it still me?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
it could be somebody else. Who asked was it you, Donna, that said?
Donna did, yes.
So if I said about maintaining and prevention over the years, what might you say being the person that says I'm already healthy?
Well, that is really something to think about. You never know what the next day is going to provide for you. And if you could get a start on, your good nutrition, it's got to help whatever comes your way.
Wow, you said that great. If you have good nutrition, it's going to help what comes your way. And so we've all done pretty well in our lives until all of a sudden one day we aren't doing so well. And I'm not saying that Juice Plus is going to cure, stave off everything, but I don't know about you, but I'm not a gambler. So I like the idea of doing a couple preventative things that are easy and like fruits and vegetables. So would you be open to taking another look with that thought in mind? And
I
maybe
would.
no, but maybe she says yes.
I think I'm going to say yes.
Yay. And again, be prepared to have something to offer up to that person. Know the different webinars that are coming up that could happen. Now, how about we'll take one more because we're almost done with the call. What if the person says, you're bringing up actually they love Juice Plus. They're on Juice Plus. And you bring up the possibility of them becoming an affiliate, a partner. And Carrie, maybe you can play this one with me and your answer is, I don't think so, and come up with whatever reason you want to come up with.
Okay.
So, hey, I know how much you love your Juice Plus. I mean, you've had such a great response, like you don't have stomach bloating anymore and your energy is really up and you're noticing your kids are even feeling better. Do you think this might be a great thing for you to be able to share with other people and maybe create a kind of a side gig for you and your family?
Oh my gosh, I could never do this. I am not a salesperson. I don't want to have to talk to people. I'm just, I don't think that's my thing.
Yeah. So Carrie, I probably would have done something a little bit different knowing that's where we were going. And I probably would have said, remind me exactly what it is that's happened with your kids since you've been on Juice Plus. What's been their experience? I've kind of forgotten. I know you had a bit more energy and stomach bloating went away, but you said it's been really great for your kids. Can you remind me about that?
Yeah, well, my daughter had some real major stomach issues and she's feeling a ton better. She's,
Okay.
managing to eat some things that she wasn't able to eat before. And I think she's more regular and her energy's pretty good. So I think it's working really good for her.
And I remember when we introduced Juice Plus to you and you said yes, I had no idea that your daughter was having those problems. But I feel so good having introduced you to them, now hearing about your daughter's success. What a great transformation. That makes me feel so good.
Yeah, it's a blessing.
So I'm just wondering, are there friends that you think you have that you don't even know their health struggles that they're going through, that if you were just to send them a quick link, that you might be able to help them the way that we've worked together to help you and your family?
It's just done with a link.
Yeah, you can just send them a link. You can text them and say, our family's been experiencing such great health benefits. And I don't know what's going on in your family right now, but if there's any kinds of, challenges or obstacles, or you just want to up-level your health, I'd love to share something with you. If I sent you a link to watch a short video, would you be open? Text the whole thing.
Wow, that seems a lot more simple.
Yeah.
I think I would be interested in being able to do that because I do share with people what, how I'm feeling.
Yeah, so you are talking to people, but you've never taken to that step where you can say, hey, I know that you were commenting, I want to feel better. And I feel guilty. I never sent you information on how to do it. If I sent you a little link to watch something, would that be okay with you?
Yeah, yes.
So now she has experience of doing that. And again, say that they wanted to make some extra money, and they'd already said, I want to make extra money, but I don't like selling. I'm afraid to talk to people. And then you had that same kind of conversation where, what if I never told you, and you said that your father's cholesterol came down so much when he started Juice Plus. I didn't even know your father had an issue. I'm so thankful that I got over my fear and I shared this with you. And now I'm making some really great extra money. And I know that you said, if you could make a couple extra $100 a month, it would really relieve your husband. So maybe by us just sharing this link with a few people, you could create that extra income. Does that sound like something you'd like to explore more?
Yes, yeah.
I've got a really short video I'd love to send to you, and maybe you could watch that and then we could talk again.
I would love that.
Okay. So it's all about asking questions and finding commonality and finding what they want. That's really the key to the invitation before you do the invitation. Find out what they need by letting them tell you what they need. And that's why I had, Carrie tell me more. I first said, you had bloating, whatever it was. What I wished I had done with Carrie was actually say, I know you've had some good experiences. Can you tell me them all? To let Carrie say them all so she's hearing herself. And she used to have this and now she's not. And what friend does she have that could have that same experience if she would just do a little sharing?
Right.
And it could create the extra money she needs to help relieve her husband. So just some ideas there. All right.
Good.
I think we've covered it. I'm not right at this moment. I don't have my notes in front of me to tell you what next week is, but I will be posting what our next class is going to be on. It'll be next Monday night, 5:30. Get some of your new people on so you can share with them the experience of learning more and how to develop and level up your skills.
Okay.
And everybody,
Super.
fabulous Thanksgiving.
Yes, have a good Thanksgiving, everyone.
All right.
Thanksgiving.
you.
You all
All
have
right.
a nice
Bye,
Thanksgiving
everybody.
also.
Bye-bye.